On March 18th, Florida Realtors released the COVID-19 Addendum to Contract. The Florida Realtors legal team wants to make sure you have all of the information you need to successfully complete contracts that are in place or are to be executed. Joining me is Florida Realtors General Counsel, Juana Watkins. Juana, what forms can the members use this addendum with?
Members can use this addendum with all of the existing sell and purchase contracts in our current forms library.
And the most popular purchase contract that is in use with the members right now is?
The most popular form is the as-is contract that is a part of the Florida Realtors Florida Bar family of contracts.
And you all will know that we call that lovingly the FAR Bar. We are Florida Realtors, but the membership uses that term very easily. So if you're wondering, the contract you probably are using is the FAR Bar or the FAR Bar as-is contract. If you're in a part of our state that uses another kind of form, like maybe the CRISP, that's also a Florida Realtors purchase contract, it's just not used as often as the other one. So, Juana, this addendum, is it intended for a contract that's currently in place between a buyer and seller or a new deal?
This contract was really designed to be used to extend the time frames under an existing sell and purchase contract.
If I'm executing a new contract, should I use the addendum?
It's not designed for that purpose, but there are portions of the form that might be useful, specifically the second portion of the form that deals with complications related to the buyer's financing that could be used to extend or to provide buyers some additional protections in the event that the lender does not fund the loan.
So unfortunately, the experts can't tell us how long this crisis is going to go on for, so this is a tool that will be used ongoing until we're through it.
Absolutely, and so the parties should be really mindful in terms of how they extend the dates. The contract gives you the option to either enter a fixed date or to enter a specified number of days. What you place in that section will depend on really the conditions on the ground at the time that you're executing this addendum. So speak with the buyer and seller and either pick a fixed date or a number of days that works with their unique circumstances.
So when they're counting their days for the FAR Bar contract or the as-is contract, is it business days or is it calendar days?
This is a really important question. The contracts all read slightly different with respect to how time is calculated. Some contracts say business days, some contracts say calendar days. Additionally, there are some provisions that will provide that for a shorter period of time, you would use a different calculation, or sometimes the deadline will fall on a Saturday, Sunday, or legal holiday. And in all instances, if the parties want to extend, rely on the underlying language in the contract that the parties originally executed. So for instance, if you're dealing with the CRISP contract, you would look at paragraph 11B to tell you how to calculate days. If you're dealing with the contract, the as-is or the Florida Realtor Florida Bar contract, please rely on the calculation in Standard F. For the vacant land contract, rely on paragraph 11. And for the commercial contract, please rely on paragraph 3.
Juana, the last paragraph of the addendum is unique. It says that the lender might not fund an already approved loan. What does that mean?
We drafted this language hoping to not penalize buyers who have been approved for a loan and are proceeding to closing with good faith trying to satisfy the conditions, but a lender decides for business purposes to not fund, or if a buyer, let's say, loses their job during the time of this crisis, we didn't want the buyer to be unfairly penalized because of circumstances that were beyond their control.
Juana, when you're using the forms in the library, there's another regular extension. Is there ever a time that folks should be using the regular extension versus the COVID extension?
Yes, these forms look very similar, so you have to work with the buyer and seller to decide which one works for them. The COVID restriction form is designed to address circumstances or complications in the transaction specific to the COVID-19 crisis. The regular extension addendum to contract form should be used if the parties need an extension of time that is not related to any complication due to COVID-19, or perhaps if the parties want to address extending the time frame for an obligation under the contract that has already passed.
Juana, how do you use this addendum if a homeowners association or a condo association refuses to timely approve a buyer?
So if you look at the definition of COVID restriction, it covers actions or inactions of an association. If the association will not be able to timely approve the buyer because of COVID-19 issues, then the parties can elect to extend that time frame by selecting the last checkbox on the form and entering a new date or a new number of days for approval.
These are the most common questions we've received with regard to the newly published addendum. If you have additional questions, please contact the Florida Realtors Legal Hotline. The Florida Realtors Tech Helpline is also available to any of you who are now working from home. We know that this is an extremely stressful time, and we wish all of you health and well-being.